YouTube. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And today we're going to try to do some modifications on a 4,500 psi air compressor. But before I do, let's chat a little bit. If you don't want to hear this chat, just skip on ahead to the project at hand. But this needs to be said. And the reason this needs to be said is because of what happened to me last night. Yesterday, I was talking to the guy that he always sends me candy that he makes himself. And we were talking, and nothing about politics, nothing about religion, nothing about anything. Just I thanked him for the candy, and we was talking. I think we were talking about the shop, about having to move into another shop. I can't remember. I talked to so many people, it's hard to remember everything, but nothing bad was ever said. So I went to sleep. I went to bed because I just wasn't feeling good, and I woke up to him jumping my ass over Donald Trump because I drink Donald Trump coffee. When I got up, I went out, and first thing I do when I get up is I get me some coffee, and I go out and look at my computer and see if there's any messages that need to be answered, and see what's going on. And I found an email from him, and his words were, "I love you, Bob." But then he counteracts it with, "You can take Donald Trump and shove him up your ass." It went south that fast. You know what? I don't care if you like Donald Trump or not, but you are not, and this means for everybody, you are not going to tell me who to believe in and who to support. That would be like telling me to take God and shove him up my ass. Ain't no damn different. If you don't like Donald Trump and you don't like to support Donald Trump, you don't have to watch my channels. You know, that's ridiculous. And then he tormented me all frickin' night to the point where I had to leave my phone in the living room and alienate everybody else that contacts me, all because he doesn't like Donald Trump. So to that person, you can take your candy and shove it up your ass. I'm sorry, that has to be said. Don't send me nothing else. Lose my number, lose everything that has anything to do with me. I don't want nothing to do with you. If you're going to condemn me over something like that, when I've never mentioned anything at all to you about politics, then I don't want nothing to do with you. So, but anyway, hail to Trump. You see that? We the people have spoken. Donald Trump, good job. Anyway, oh, it makes me mad. Anyway, let's get down here. I want to show you what's going on here. When I got this here, they had zip tied to this bolt right here that goes through, that holds the motor together. And they just zip tied that there, and it was broke. The zip tie was, and this thing was just flopping around in there. So I decided to do this a different way. There's a bolt that sticks out right here, or a stud, and I couldn't figure out why that stud was there if they weren't going to use it. So, you know, instead of zip tying it to that, if you look right here, there's a hole right here with a threaded hole that is exactly the same size as that stud. So I couldn't figure out why they didn't use that instead. Well, if you do put it there, first of all, let's see, we want to unwrap this to the point where it's almost like that. That way when you thread this in, this here will unravel. And we're going to thread that in here. And it will unwrap that cord. Alright, and then we'll just take a 1/2 inch wrench, because I put a nut on it so I can tighten it. First of all, let me try to see if I can get that turned up to where all the letters are at the top. And then we'll tighten it up. Alright, well, now that has created another problem. But it ain't a problem that can't be fixed. So now when you put this on, it hits the capacitor before it gets all the way down. Get that out of there. And then this goes in that hole right there. If I can get it in there, I can't even hit the hole. You know what they say about people who can't hit the hole, right? Alright, so what it's doing, it's hitting the capacitor before it gets all the way down. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to raise that to right there, and that's going to leave a gap right here. So we need to fill that gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make a plate that goes across this, all the way across, maybe out of tread aluminum or something like that. Get that on the other side like it's supposed to be. There we go. Alright, so we're going to try to make us a plate that goes across both of this out of tread aluminum, and or some kind of aluminum, don't have to be tread, and mount it that way. I mean, we got a few issues that could be a problem. For instance, I'm not going to be able to put a screw up here or here, so we're going to use a spot right here and a spot right here. And it doesn't matter if this here probe is below this. In fact, it's okay to have it below it. And that way you can still get in behind here to put it in if it ever comes out. This is the plan anyway. So let me see if I can't find. If I see another problem here that could be an issue, where this screws this part onto that, it's real thick where the screw goes in here, but then where I'm going to have to put it up here is going to change. So we may have to relocate the screws into the plate that we make for it. This one here, This one we can still use. We're just going to have to transfer a hole right here. Instead of it here, we're going to bring it down here and do an oblong, and that one we can still use. This one we can still use to mount our new plate that this is going to mount to. So we're going to come up about that far and go from there. So let me get some plates made and we'll be back. Alright, so what I've decided to do is we're going to use this hole, and the same on the other side. These two holes here are going to be used for adding just a plate, maybe a vent plate, or which is probably what I'll use. I'll just make a little strip to go in there and have it so that it's got holes drilled in it, so it's got some kind of a vent, so that when all the air pulls through here, that it comes out here, or vice versa. I don't know if it pulls through here, but the only holes that is here to allow air to flow through here is these holes in this plate right here, and they're not very big, so we're just going to make us a little screen or a plate with holes drilled in it so that it will allow air to circulate through here. So basically this is just going to mount right on top like that, and then we'll put our screws in there. Now I can't use the original screws, which was these little tiny ones, so we went and got these that used to be for, or what was meant to put a tin building together, to screw the tin together, and these were the nuts that went on it. But we're not going to use the nuts, we're just going to use the plastic washer, and I had to tap these holes out to fit. So then we'll go ahead and put this hole together. I can't see, so I'm going to have to turn it around here. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. And these are two different size screws. These ones in the front in the aluminum are a little bigger than the other one. So right now, minus getting all the plugs plugged back in, this is ready to be used again. So I can carry it like that. So now we have plenty of room in there for the capacitor. It's not going to hit the bottom of the nut on the handle. So basically what we're going to try to do is just make some kind of a screen to put in here. And we really don't have to, but I'm going to try to make something to put in here. And then we'll make just a piece of aluminum plate or something to put across here. It don't even have to be aluminum, it could be plastic. Just something that's got holes drilled in it so the air will circulate through there. And these two holes here, we can use them for something. I don't know what, but we'll use them for something. Now I can take and drill this out and tap it for the size screws I want to use, which will probably be these right here. Actually these here match the front, and then we'll just make some that match the rear also. Now remember, like I said, this here's got a real thick place right there where that bolt goes through. This here appears thin, so you don't want to over tighten it. So basically that's just going to be for cosmetic reasons. It really isn't one that we're using to hold anything. So I'm going to find something to put across here. I don't know what yet, but we'll find something. I had thought about this piece, but this piece right here is the problem. And we may still be able to use this. We would just have to cut a notch in here to miss this and this and this once we get it cut to size. And the only bad thing is it's got holes in it already, and there's no way I can get away with using this and miss any holes. I don't really want them holes in there, but however, I could take and just drill a series of holes exactly the same size as that all the way through here with some kind of design. I mean, who knows? But I'm going to try to find something better than that to put across here. And that's basically all I got to do is just close this spot in. And I don't really have to. I just want to. So we'll see if we can find something. So stay tuned. Alright, so what I found was a piece of aluminum that's got ridges on it that looks really nice. And this used to be something that had a tripod, and you put your drawing on it to draw while you're, I guess you call that an easel. And I had two of them, a black one and a aluminum one. And it's got all this stuff on the bottom here, and this doesn't really matter. We're just worried about the face part of it, and we're going to try to figure out how to make this work. So what I've done is I've cut that, or I'm going to cut this. I've got it marked to the same length as this piece right here, so that it will go in there just like that. And then we'll just have to trim this little piece here off and just make a notch so that it goes and passes these three pieces right here, or them three places. So we're just going to cut that right there, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so here's the plates that we're going to cut, and basically they're just going to go in there just like that. And I'm trying to leave as much of this in there as possible for strength. So what I did was I made this out of the same thing, and I just cut this off right here and filed it down to where it's nice and smooth. Same thing here, same thing here. And I left this rib there just so that it would give it more strength. So this one goes on the other side, and I'll show that to you. So basically, this here will go in up underneath there just like that and set right there, and then we'll just screw that to it, and this overlaps this part up here so that it'll help keep vibrations down on the bottom here. So I think that looks pretty good. So I don't really think that we need to put any holes. I got to looking at it, and I don't think we need to put any holes, series of holes in here. because all this is open right up in here. So it's got plenty of air to pull through here, and it'll also pull it past this head and pull the air through with this fan. So I'm going to go ahead and make this piece to match this one for the opposite side, because it is opposite. So you don't want to make a mistake and make these identical, because if you make them identical, you'll have a right and a right, or a left and a left. We need a left and a right. So this one goes here on this side, just like that, and then I just kind of rounded it off here at the bottom to kind of transition it into this one, because this is offset. So I'll make that other piece and drill the holes for the screw holes, and we'll be back. Alright guys, so now we've got our plate made for this side, we got our plate made for this side, and we even made a plate for the back side to go over top of it. So let's start off. Well, that ain't a very good way to have that mounted. You look at this, that is so cheesy. They've got drywall screws going in there to hold that in. Wow. Oh well. So let's start off by putting this plate on, which will go right here, just to cover this gap right here. Well, I broke that washer, or it was broke. Put another washer on it. I just tapped this aluminum out. Alright, so now we get to plug this back up, but we got to find out which way it went. And I took a picture of it. Always take a picture of your wiring so that you can get it back the way it's supposed to be. Alright, so the white one goes on first. And then the black one goes beside that one. And then the blue one. And then the brown one. Alright. Then we'll put that on. And I can't see, so I'm going to have to turn it around here. And now we don't have an opening in the back of that, and it looks like it's supposed to be that way. So now what we've got to do is figure out where we're going to put our holes. So that'll go in there just like that, and we will drill our holes in it, and we'll be back to put that together. Alright, so now I've got my holes drilled in them. So now we'll prop that up so you guys can see what's going on here. And we'll just put that in there just like that. Oh, wrong screw. And then we'll turn it around and do the other side. So this slides up in there just like that. And what this does is pushes against the bottom of that to keep it from vibrating, and it looks good. And like I said, we don't have to worry too much about, well, I'm going to have to do a little adjustment here because it's not letting it go down flush. And that's going to be as simple as just take a file and file it out. So we're just taking file that. And now it fits flush. And there we have it. So now we have our capacitor up mounted so that it's not zip tied in, and we've got our probe in, and that looks pretty good. It looks like it came factory like that. And we can use these holes for something else if you ever want to. Now we have a water system that goes to this, and who knows, maybe we can mount something here to accommodate for the water system, because there's water. There's a water hose that goes on both of these and goes into a pump into a bucket of water, and that looks good. It's closed that in, and this bottom is overlapping this right here, so as it's screwed tight it pushes against this. And both sides look the same. So then we've got all this open in the front that will pull air past this. So, you know, it was down here about there, so really wasn't a whole lot of air going through this to keep the motor cool. So now we've got all this area right here that we can use that air will suck through. So there we have the modification of the Chinese high pressure air compressor modification. So I hope y'all got something out of this and seen how you can take a bad situation or a messed up situation and make it work for you just by using parts that, you know, just come off of, well, this actually came off of a easel, and I just cut the pieces off of it to make it work, and it looks pretty good. So let me give you a pan around here. You got all this open in here. The capacitor is mounted. It's not going to do a whole lot of vibrating around, and no zip tie to melt or break, because they did have it zip tied to that bolt down there, and all it did was just raise this and made these plates to put on it, and I think it looks pretty good. So there you have it. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that it's the power is on at all times, and it's in Celsius, not Fahrenheit. I like Fahrenheit. I'm not overseas, I'm in the United States. We do Fahrenheit. These people keep coming around here changing our ways, and I don't like it. And again, don't forget to have your Trump coffee today. Oh, it made me mad. So don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want to help the channel out, you can by going to PayPal and PayPal it to bisonworkshop@gmail.com. Right above the picture, right below the picture on my channel, you'll see a link that says support this channel with PayPal. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Later.